All right. I've done it for kind of done it for Superman. I've done it for the Flash. I've done it for the Teen Titans, and I've done it for Batman. Today we're going to be taking another crack at Superman, and we're going to see if I can't make up a good movie for him because I don't think that there's been one. Normally I would say since blank, but nope. Superman 1, 2, 3, 4 returns Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Justice League. I think all of these movies are bad in their own way. Superman 1 is the most enjoyable, but it's still not great. So, I want to just, I'm not going to sit here and like talk about like all the values of the character and all that stuff so that I can set my story up to be some definitive version of Superman, because I don't think I have that. I don't think there is one. But I would like to give you what I think would go into telling a good story about Superman without having to change him fundamentally for the purpose of making him relevant or modernizing him. Cool? I hope so. All right. So I would want the movie to start with just Clark, like waking up with Lois or whatever. He's got like a healing wound in his midsection. He's putting on a shirt. He's getting ready to go work at the Daily Planet. I know what you're already thinking. How is he wounded when he's Superman? It's very important for us to start the movie with him being injured. At least for me it is, because I want one of the core things in this movie to be that he's a human and he does wrestle with these human emotions, these human feelings, this sense of humanity, because he's a person. But instead of making him depressing, I just want him to be, fallible in some sort of way. So Lois will be like, "Are you feeling any better?" He's like, "A little bit." And she's like, "I'm surprised that you got hurt." And he's like, "Well, we already knew that skull droids could hurt me." Skull droids would be some sort of device created by Brainiac, because Brainiac has the skull ship. And so you hear the skull droid and you think, oh, Brainiac is involved in this movie. That's what I want you to think. So they go to work, and then Perry's like, "Hey, Lex Luthor is giving some sort of speech later on. I want you two to cover it." And Clark is like, "Are you sure I can't cover like football or something like that? You really want me to cover Lex Luthor?" And he's like, "Yes." And so they go. He talks to Lex, and Lex is like, "Hey, man, what the hell's going on?" He's like, "Hey, man, oh gosh, my chair. We used to be friends a long time ago." Because that's one of the things from Smallville that I did enjoy. I did like that at one point they were friends. They were close friends. So I want to carry that over to what's going on outside. Hold on. Anyway, I want to carry that over to this one. So Lex is like, "We were friends once upon a time. I don't like us feuding like this. I want to bury the hatchet because I have some big things coming up in my life and I want to move on with a clean slate." So he offers the olive branch to Clark, and now it's on Clark to be the bigger man or to be petty and be like, "Hey, no, you're still the bad guy." Because the thing is, they have been feuding because Lex Luthor and Superman feud, but it's never been provable that it's Lex Luthor that's been behind all these things. And that's one of the things of this version of the story. So later on, Lex decides to announce that he's running for president, and that his friend Superman will be endorsing him. And that kind of puts a lot of pressure on Clark, because he's like, well, he did say he wants to bury the hatchet. Maybe he does, have some good intent. And Lois is like, "Smallville, you always want to believe that there's good inside someone even when there isn't. Lex is up to no good. Whatever he's doing, he's trying to get to you." And he's like, "I don't know. He didn't seem to have any malintent." So stuff like that. Like, to show that even though it's not a good idea, Clark wants to believe in Lex. He wants to believe that his old friend has decided to grow up, and maybe they can be friends again. Because in this continuity, when Lex went to college, okay, Lex was abused by Lionel Luthor. That is, well, not necessarily Lionel Luthor, by his father. That is something that's widely accepted. And Clark, living on a farm, was like, "Well, you can come over to my house from time to time. I got a good family here. We'll make you feel better. I'll be your friend." And so they were just kind of together. And they developed a relationship where Lex felt like he needed Clark. He needed Clark's different take on life. He needed him to balance him out. And so they were supposed to go to the same college in Metropolis. But that's when Clark found out the truth about what he was, went to the Fortress of Solitude for however long, and then became Superman. So Lex feels like he was abandoned by Clark. And Clark honestly doesn't feel that same way because he thinks that he just answered his call to action and started living the life that he was supposed to live because he's not exactly the same as everybody else. I hope that's enough to be able to absorb. By the way, I'm not a Superman fan, but I do understand the character very well. So some time goes by, Lex becomes president. He and Clark start buddying up again. But over the course of the campaign, Lex announces that he wants to create some sort of like renewable energy source, and so he's going to be sending an expedition corps to space. During the course of the campaign is when the launch happens. They come back shortly after Lex becomes president, but there's some sort of problem with the launch, or some problem with the return. Superman goes out there to try to help everything. Everything blows up. Superman is not found. It is presumed that there was some sort of material on the shuttle, on the ship, that could harm Superman, and the explosion wiped everybody out. The astronauts are dead. Superman is not. Superman has been teleported to this red solar lamp room on a space station that is owned by Lex. So Lex can go to this room and just beat the ever-loving shit out of Superman whenever he wants, for as long as he wants, and he finally is bigger and stronger than Superman is. And that is something that I got from Superman Doomsday. I'm pulling from a lot of other Superman things because, like I said, there's no one definitive Superman. And if you're going to be creating something about a character for a new generation, you should pull from some of the older generations because there's going to be some stuff that worked. Anyway, now, what I want is for Superboy to already exist, but for the public to think that he's just another Kryptonian, not to know that he's a project from Cadmus Labs. Because I was thinking back and forth, because one thing that I do want to avoid with this movie is a Superman versus Superman final act. And not that that happens too often, but because of the era of superhero movies that we live in, it happens frequently in other movies. And I don't want to have to resort to that because I don't think I have to resort to that. So I'm just going to try to move around that. So I decided Superboy already exists, and that while the world is mourning over Superman's death, Superboy and Lex announced this new partnership because Connor does not know that Lex is behind what happened to Clark. But Lex is like, oh, I feel responsible for what happened to Superman, and I want to try to make things better, so I'm announcing a new partnership with Superboy, and we're going to be taking steps to avoid the same mistakes that I made with Clark. Well, not with Clark, with Superman. Connor knows he's a clone, but he won't reveal that to the public because, they're already going through enough right now. So they start working together. But as it turns out, Lex built a failsafe into Superboy, and at any moment he can take over his mind and turn him into this crazed killing machine, basically. And he's going to do that once his new suit is finished. What's his new suit? His new Lexo Suit that he built using information that he gained from biosamples that he collected from Superman. That's why he sent a skull droid after him to get his blood. That's why he sent Metallo after him in between scenes, whatever you want. You can just say that he had a brush with Metallo. Metallo injured him. He collected more DNA. He's been getting DNA from Superman to learn how to make the perfect anti-Superman Lexo Suit. That's why he captured him. So if he can make a suit that's strong enough to kill Superman, he can most certainly kill Superboy. Superman finds out about this because Lex, being Lex, is broadcasting this plan to Superman because he's like, oh, you can't stop me, so I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do so that you can know how badly you failed the Earth because you trusted me. And Superman's like, no, I can't let that happen. He's like, well, good luck. So he finds a way out. He pilots the thing back into Earth's atmosphere. He starts absorbing some sunlight, jumps out, starts flying. Just as Superboy gets to peak I'm destroying stuff, when Lex is planning to go take him out, Superman's like, bah, he grabs Connor and he's just like, listen to me, I know you're good, you're my best friend, you're like a brother to me, I can't let you do this, but I also can't let Lex kill you, so I need you to come to your senses. So obviously that doesn't work immediately, and Connor is kind of laying the fuck smack on Superman for a little while. I guess you could say that in the same context that Gohan could beat Goku in a fight at one point in time, but Superman's obviously stronger, but he's not fighting back because he doesn't want to hurt his friend because he doesn't think he needs to. So not only is the world shocked to find out that Superman's alive, but that he's trying to subdue this thing, which means that maybe it's not as bad as we thought. Because Lex's whole thing is if he can kill an evil Superman-like creature, then he is the best hero for Earth to have. He can protect the Earth, and so the world will love him, and they'll want to re-elect him as president in 4 years. Point is, though, that he finally talks Connor down. I don't know if it's that he gets out of range of Lex's control signal or whatever, but eventually Superboy comes down, and then Superman goes to the White House, and he's like, hey, I brought some stuff with me from the satellite, or from the space station, the space shuttle, whatever you want to call it, and I've got just enough dirt on you to get you impeached and convicted. So, I win, Lex. I win. And so Lex goes down. He's like, oh, this isn't the last you'll see of me. And, of course, if you're telling a Lex story, you don't want him to die. So he'll just go to prison, and it's like, oh, well, when I get out of here, we're going to have some more adventures. And Clark's like, and so Connor probably won't feel too great about what happened. He'll be a little insecure for a while. He won't be sure if he should be a hero. And that is something that we could explore if this is in the same continuity as the Teen Titans movie. But if it is, then in the Teen Titans movie, he won't be mind controlled by Lex, because it would be stupid to do that same plot thing twice. So, if it's in the same continuity, he won't get mind controlled in the Teen Titans movie. But he, in the second Teen Titans movie, could be exploring his insecurities from what just happened. Now, the reason that I want it to be in the same continuity is because Lex is becoming president in both versions of the story. But I feel like because he's not running just yet in the Teen Titans movie, then he'd be running in the second one. And this would have to happen in between the second one and the third one. So maybe in the third movie, Connor would be dealing with all this aftermath. Either way, we love interconnected universes because of the storytelling opportunities that you get with certain characters. You get to start a thing here and carry it over across 3 more movies. And that's a very important thing here. Anyway, that's my idea for Superman, what would we call this? Earthbound? That's a game. Superman, whatever. Superman the Superboys. Anyway, what do you think about my idea? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think it's good? Do you think I'm an idiot because I didn't like Joker, but I think a Superman movie could be good? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below and educate me. And as always, if you want more videos from me, click the screen and you will get more.